If you've ever seen whitewater stand-up paddleboards before, you probably know they're usually built to stay nice and high on the surface of the water. That makes sense for stability, but it also limits what you can actually do out there on the river. The Riverskate takes a totally different approach, because instead of just floating on top, it actually lets you intentionally sink the front or back of the board into the water to pull off some seriously cool maneuvers. This unique inflatable board was created by North Carolina paddler David Miller, and it's inspired by something called a squirt boat, which is a low-volume whitewater kayak. Squirt boats normally float at the surface too, but with the help of river currents, paddlers can dip them below the water and perform moves like the mystery move, where both the boat and rider rotate underwater like a spinning compass needle. While the Riverskate doesn't fully submerge like that, it still opens the door to a whole new style of riding that you just don't get with traditional SUP boards. With this thing, you can pull off squirty tricks like end-over-end cartwheels, bow stalls where the board drops almost vertically nose first into the water, stern stalls where the tail dips instead, and tail dips that let you pivot quickly by sinking the back end. At the same time, it still handles all the usual whitewater action like surfing waves and running rapids, so you're not giving up performance for creativity. A big part of what makes this possible comes from the features running along both sides of the board called grab wings. These help you lock in your body position by bracing your feet or knees against them depending on how you ride. But more importantly, they shift the board's volume away from the nose and tail and into the center rails. That change gives the Riverskate a lower volume feel, while actually making it more stable. When you lean into turns, the grab wings engage progressively instead of tipping suddenly, which gives you a much more predictable sense of control. They also redistribute buoyancy in a way that makes it easier to pressure and briefly sink the tail when you're initiating vertical moves, riding steeper waves, or pivoting in tricky currents. The Riverskate comes in two different models, both built with double-layered drop-stitch PVC, and finished with an EVA traction pad deck. There's a 120-liter version designed for paddlers up to 73 kilos that weighs about 10 kilos and costs $999, and a larger 150-liter model for riders up to 98 kilos that comes in at around 11 kilos for $1,149. According to Miller, the first batch of Riverskates completely sold out last November, and a fresh run is expected to be available this spring. So if you're into pushing the limits of what you can do on whitewater, this might be one to keep an eye on.